Okay, hi guys. So I'm gonna actually be talking today about how to do the perfect push-up. I get a lot of people asking me, how do you do the perfect push-up? What's the right way? So there is a right way. There's no absolute right way because there's a zillion different types of push-ups, depending on what you're trying to do. So just know that going into it. Know that there are good practice, better practices, but then there's also some things to watch out for. So I'm gonna focus this on, rather than saying this is the only way you can do a push-up correctly, which is just wrong. Don't believe anybody who says that. But these are some guidelines and these are some of the things to watch out for, some things that are wrong in doing it. Now the first thing to notice is your hand placement. So when you're doing your push-up, obviously you're in a plank, whether you're on your knees or your feet, your hand placement, you want to make sure that your fingers are spread no matter what, so you can maximize the amount of work through your wrist tension. If you kind of slam into your carpals like this, where you see the fingers kind of curl, that means that you're completely relaxed in your hands, and that's actually putting too much pressure on your carpals, and your wrists will definitely feel that after a while. So that's rule number one. You can do this with dumbbells as well. That kind of helps for people with wrist problems, carpal tunnel. That's another thing. Where you place your hands and where you move your elbows indicates which musculature you're going for. So there are a bunch of people, CrossFitters are famous for, or gymnasts as well. They always do elbows in. That's totally fine. That's probably one of the most common ways of doing a push-up. Some people call them tricep push-ups because that's what you're focusing on. You're focusing on just this musculature mostly. You're getting everything, but you're focusing primarily your triceps and your anterior delt to create that push. If you go a little bit wider, which a lot of guys like to do because that's chest crazy. So it depends on what muscle you're going for to indicate which way your triceps are gonna go, how wide you go, all that stuff, the diamond or the heart-shaped one. Obviously, it just, this one takes a lot more control through your shoulder girdle, so wide ones for your chest. Narrow ones are going to go into your triceps anterior delt. You can also do the off-center ones, which kind of places the musculature off-center. But here, so basically, you can do many different types. The guidelines for a perfect push-up are basically three things to watch out for. Number one is the head. I always see this go first. Dropping the head, looking at your toes, and then pushing into your push-up. As you're doing that, what ends up happening is it changes the relationship of your weight into your shoulder. So you're putting most of your pressure onto your upper trapezius, and your scalenes are going to probably start binding up on you. It also makes it a little bit heavier for a lot of people. So just kind of be aware of that. Make sure that the head should be straight forward looking down, regardless of which pathway your arms are taking. Then you've also got the dip in the abdominals, which you see a lot happen. Sometimes people think of it as just relaxed lower abdominals, and you see that's the butt kind of goes perky up in the air. What ends up happening right there is the abdominals have lost their control, but you're also binding pressure back here. It's not just like it's completely loose. You're actually overly tense back here. So it's a combination of different things that could be happening. So making sure that you almost feel like you're almost rounded or scooped in the low back, so that it's nice and stable as you go for whichever push-up you're choosing to do. The number one thing though is your shoulders, specifically at the bottom of the push-up. Now this is a gymnast thing, so if you look at my shoulders in relation to each other and my back, this is position number one where it's super curved and I almost have like an arch, so my spine is pushing up, versus what I see always happening is people drop into your shoulders. If you had somebody come down and put a weight or push down on my mid-spine in this position, I would probably crumble. But if I had it stacked up and rounded like I was resisting and kind of hollowing out my body a little bit, it's almost like they can't break me. I feel super strong there. The trick with a push-up is, can you hold that kind of arc where it's not collapsed the whole way down? That's the trick. Can you actually go all the way and maintain that structure here the whole way down? Typically what you'll see is this. You get really strong, and then they relax. And you find yourself in this position where the shoulders are collapsed. That is really not a good place to find yourself. If that means everybody has different ways of looking at it, but in my school of thought, I think that you should diminish how far you go down in your push-ups or regress down to going into your knees or possibly even quadruped. All of these are push-ups, but get your structural integrity here solid first and you'll have a successful push-up. The repetitions will come, the strength will come, and then you can start playing with it and having more fun. So watch out for the shoulders, the head, and the lower spine, and your push-up should be fine. The rest of it is all, where do you want to place your weight? On what musculature are you targeting? So if you have any questions or comments, please reach out. If you have any more requests for thoughts about certain exercises, I'm happy to take them. Just comment below. Thanks.